Feels like we were just getting used to hearing about the metaverse everywhere we turned, and now, bam, it's AI taking over the world. Well, maybe not quite taking over the world.
Not yet, at least.
Right. But seriously, the potential of AI is huge, even if it feels a little overwhelming trying to wrap our heads around it all.
It definitely is a lot to take in.
And that's exactly why we're doing this deep dive on OpenAI. We want to cut through all the hype and break down exactly what it is, what it can do, and how you can actually start using it yourself.
Consider this your crash course in all things OpenAI.
I like it, a crash course.
Yeah,
So to really get a handle on OpenAI, maybe we need to take a step back first. When we say AI, what are we even talking about?
good point. AI, or artificial intelligence, can be kind of tricky to define, but it's helpful to think of it as existing on, like, a spectrum.
Okay, a spectrum I'm following.
Oh, on one end of the spectrum, you have what we call narrow AI. This is the type of AI you're probably already interacting with every day.
Really? I don't even realize it.
Probably not. Think about things like spam filters blocking all those unwanted emails or personalized recommendations popping up on your streaming services.
Okay, yeah, so it's doing a very specific task.
Exactly. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, we have the AI we typically see in sci-fi movies.
The kind that can think for itself, solve any problem.
Exactly. We call that general AI, where AI possesses human-like cognitive abilities and can theoretically perform any intellectual task that a human can.
So like the AI in the movie Her.
Exactly. But it's super important to remember that general AI is still largely hypothetical.
So not something we need to worry about taking over the world anytime soon.
Not quite yet. And whether or not we'll actually ever reach that point is a whole other discussion.
A deep dive for another day, maybe. But okay, so for today, we're focusing on OpenAI and those more practical, everyday applications of AI, right?
You got it. And one of the things that makes OpenAI so fascinating is that they're not just focused on developing cutting-edge AI models, they're also making those models accessible to everyone.
Okay, I've been wanting to ask about that. What does that actually look like in practice? I'm not a coder or anything, but are you telling me I could build my own AI assistant?
You absolutely could. OpenAI has created a bunch of tools and platforms, things like GPT-4 and DALL-E, that are designed to be user-friendly, even if you don't have a background in computer science.
Hold on, so you're saying anyone can use these tools?
Anyone. Think of it like this. You get to use this incredible, powerful toolbox to create some pretty amazing things.
So I may not be building the tools, but I can still use them. I like the sound of that. This is where things get really interesting for me. So we have these powerful AI tools at our disposal, but how do we actually use them effectively? What's the secret?
Yeah, it feels like having this super-powered computer at my fingertips, but needing to figure out exactly the right thing to say to make it do what I want it to do.
You know, there's actually a name for that. It's called prompt engineering.
Okay, prompt engineering. Honestly, that sounds kind of intimidating, like I need to be some kind of tech whiz to pull it off. I get where you're coming from. But it's really not about being super technical at all. It's more about learning how to be specific and clear about what you want the AI to do. Like, imagine you're talking to a friend who takes everything you say super literally. If you just say, write a story, they might be totally lost. But if you're like, hey, write me a really suspenseful detective story and make sure it has something to do with antique typewriters, well, now you're giving them something to work with.
Okay, so it's all about asking the right questions or giving the right instructions to get the result I'm looking for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the way you phrase your request, or prompt as we call it, can actually make a huge difference in the output you get. The details you choose to include, the specific words you use, even the order of the words, it all matters.
You know, this is reminding me of when I first started using those early search engines, before we had all the fancy search filters we have today. I'd type in whatever came to mind, but the results I got back were always such a mixed bag, you know? It wasn't until I figured out which keywords to use that I could actually find what I was looking for.
Exactly. It's all about learning to speak the AI's language.
So basically, prompt engineering is the key to unlocking the real power of these AI tools.
Nailed it.
So you've got me convinced that prompt engineering is important, but I need some examples. What does a good prompt actually look like compared to a bad one?
Let's say you're using DALL-E 2, which is OpenAI's image generation tool. If you give it a vague prompt like create an image of nature, the results are probably going to be pretty generic.
Makes sense. Nature can mean a million different things.
Exactly. But if you're really specific, something like generate an image of a solitary oak tree, make it silhouetted against a really dramatic sunset over the Scottish Islands, then you're giving the AI a lot more to work with.
Oh, wow, yeah. You've given it the type of tree, the setting, the lighting, even the mood.
Right. All of those details make for a much better image in the end.
Okay, I think I'm starting to get it. So, what you're saying is even someone like me with basically zero coding experience could use these OpenAI tools to create something really cool, as long as they learn a little prompt engineering.
You're catching on quickly.
Yeah.
Just think you could use these tools to design a logo for your new business, write a children's book, even compart your own music.
Now you're just showing off. But this is really cool stuff. So we've covered why prompt engineering is so important, but let's get practical. What are some actual steps people can take to start building their prompt engineering muscles? So it sounds like we need to think about this like learning a new language almost.
It kind of is like that.
Mm.
And like with any language, the key is to start practicing. And don't worry about making mistakes at first. You don't need to be fluent to get started.
So no need to go enroll in AI language classes or anything. What would you say is a good first step to dipping my toes into prompt engineering?
Honestly, to start playing around. OpenAI has some free access to some of their tools, so you can try out different prompts and, just see what happens. Don't be afraid to get a little creative.
Okay, so jump right in. I like it. Are there any resources out there for people who might want a little more guidance?
Tons. OpenAI has a super active online forum where people share tips and tricks and even their own prompt creations. And there's a ton of stuff, online tutorials, blog posts, even YouTube channels, all about prompt engineering.
Oh, wow. So there's really a whole community out there to learn from.
It's amazing. And the more you try things out, the more you'll develop an intuition for what works when it comes to writing really great prompts.
This has been so eye-opening. It feels like this technology is developing so fast, like we're only just scratching the surface of what AI can do.
Oh, absolutely. We're just at the beginning. And the exciting part is platforms like OpenAI are making AI accessible to everyone. So who knows what incredible things we'll see in the future.
The possibilities really are limitless. So to everyone listening, we hope you'll get out there and experiment with AI. You might just surprise yourself with what you're able to create.
Couldn't agree more. The future of AI is waiting to be unlocked, and it all starts with your imagination.